everybody, hopefully y'all are doing great. It's your boy Miguel back at it again, and for those of you who are new, I'm Miguel Baltazar, and I'm an artist that works in the animation industry. And so as the title of the video suggests, I have reached over 300 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and it is honestly such a blessing because when I started this channel, really didn't think too much about the amount of people that would subscribe. All I cared about was making videos that would hopefully help people, and guide them on their storyboarding journey. And so today, to celebrate that, I wanted to pick a drawing prompt based on suggestions that I got from Instagram and do a speed draw of that. So yeah, I'm gonna list all the suggestions that people on my Instagram suggested a couple weeks ago. Also, sorry for making this video just now, but you know how it is, it gets busy. But yeah, so I'm gonna list off the prompts or the suggestions that I got, and then from there I'm actually gonna pick one of these prompts randomly. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. All right, let's start with the first prompt that I got. My boy at Travis Marks Art. Travis Marks, an amazing individual, artist, and friend. He suggested Miles Morales doing his sick Spider-Man shit. Right on. Hey. At Dustin Perez suggested your favorite horror movie scene. Spooky. That'd be pretty cool. At, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing this, at Jumi.servant, Wario and you in a party to celebrate it. Either that suggestion is really coincidental, or this guy has actually been following my stuff for a while, because I made a Wario animatic a while back. At MB_art21, that's a Mason Bukowski, amazing artist. You should give him a follow. Really amazing guy. He suggested Princess, something a little different. That'd actually be really interesting. Not just the typical princess, I would assume. Something a little different, more trailblazing, I would think. And then next we have at Marlia J_. Marlia is a fantastic individual as well. She also has an art Instagram that I'm putting down there below for you guys to follow. Really great person and friend. She says Loki or WandaVision in your style would be sick. Yeah, that would be cool. I haven't really seen the shows, but I think just picking a pose or something and drawing it in my style would be actually pretty sick. Yeah, you're right. So thank you. At Panda_502 Nezuko from Demon Slayer. I hear that show is really cool. That would actually be a really interesting prompt to draw. At Torres_Jess Earthquake. I have no idea what. At Jeremiah versus the World. Shout out. Spider-Man scenes from Spider-Man 2. That would be pretty sick. At Art Dashes, another cool guy. Toby.
Welcome to the show.
Hey.
How are you feeling going into this? Are you a spicy food dude?
Well.
At Nancy.drew.this suggests Naruto. Okay, cool. Awesome. At Austin_Marquise, who actually, really great guy. Can you draw your interpretation of mental health? That's probably going to be really heavy, but I will do my best to be faithful to what you're suggesting, but also, keep it a little lighthearted as well. At _Royal_Rosie_ suggests your favorite video game character or characters. Awesome, that's a pretty fun one. I have a couple characters in mind. At Mungia, aka David, really great guy too, suggests your favorite villain. So that could be anything: movie villain, video game villain. I guess the sky's the limit for me, so that's cool. And then last but not least, at Nat_C suggests draw yourself when you saw you had 300 subs. That's pretty, I like that one too. So yeah, so those are all the suggestions I got, and so now what I'm gonna do is I actually wrote down all these suggestions on pieces of paper, and I put them in this Teddy Fresh SpongeBob collab beanie, and I'm just gonna pick them at random and see what I get. And just so you guys don't think that this is rigged, I'm gonna pick a suggestion right now. So let's see. Okay, cool. All right. So we got this suggestion. Ah, okay. Actually, you know what? Fuck this. No, I'm just kidding. MB_art21.
He's so
Mason,
cool.
I got your suggestion. Princess, something a little different. Awesome. So, really excited about that one. I hope I'm interpreting this correctly. All right. Without further ado, let's get to drawing a princess. But different. Actually, what am I doing? I got my CPC here. Whatever. Enrique.
That's a sharp outfit, Chan. Careful. You could puncture the hull of an Empire-class Fire Nation battleship, leaving thousands.
So as you guys can see, I chose Azula as the princess. I mean, who else would I choose, really? And so here we go. I'm just gonna talk about my process and also just kind of reflecting on, you know, my journey on YouTube so far. So I mentioned this in previous videos regarding how I work, but as you can see, everything's very loose. And the biggest thing that I wanted to emphasize with this drawing was trying to find a very energetic pose that suited Azula's character. Something that I've learned just through, you know, my time, you know, working in animation, but also through making these videos, is not just making cool drawings, but trying to find the story and character within those drawings. And here, before I even, you know, started, you know, roughing out the pose, I actually looked on Pinterest to try to find inspiration for energetic action poses to, you know, inspire me. And in the end, I actually, you know, went for a pose that I just came up with in my head. And of course, that's not necessarily like ideally how you know, would work. But in this case, since I've done a lot of life drawings that resemble this kind of action and energy, it was pretty easy for me to come up with this pose. And I had it in my head that Azula was gonna do this like backflip, you know, and mid backflip she would shoot fire from her fingers, and it just seemed cool, you know, to do that. And also to trying to find a pose that wasn't necessarily just like a generic, you know, shoulder high drawing of just the face. Like I wanted to really incorporate a lot of body movement and line of action in this drawing. And so as you saw, like I was, you know, trying to figure out the red lines of the initial pose, and here now I'm just going in and you know, fine-tuning. And I always go, you know, 3 steps when it comes to drawing. I do, you know, the very rough thumbnail drawing where I figure out all the anatomy, all the proportions, and you'll see that I, you know, rotate my canvas as well as, you know, flip my canvas horizontally just to make sure that the drawing doesn't look wonky when I flip it. And overall, I gotta say, like, something that I've been trying to do more often is really just be able to be happy with the decisions I'm making, and really being open to refining a lot of the details and not just bypassing and just, you know, trying to nail stuff down quickly. Here I really took my time trying to make sure that, you know, all the anatomy, the facial expressions of Azula, that everything just worked and, you know, felt solid. And, you know, here, this was the fun part where, and you can't see it here, but you'll see it later on in the video. I have a reference of Azula's outfit on another monitor, and this helped, you know, guide me in being able to properly draw the different parts of Azula's outfit, such as, you know, like her chest armor, her shin guards, her robe, everything. And so of course, like, this is still roughs, and there I'm trying to nail down the shape language of the fire. And there you go, you see that I've rotated the canvas to make sure that everything works. And even here, even in the rough stage, I'm still trying to refine stuff. And as you can see, Azula's leg that's stretched out, I end up redrawing it because it just didn't work for me. And so as you can see, like, this is where, especially in this stage, it's good to just, you know, try different ideas and make mistakes, because here in this clean stage that I'm doing now, it's important that you've nailed down all those components, because otherwise it's just going to be much more difficult, to be able to clean that stuff up and refine. So might as well just fuck up early on, so that way you don't fuck up later and cry tears of anger and sadness. But yeah, like overall, like, while drawing this, I was just feeling very comfortable. And even though I haven't drawn for myself in a while, like I felt good, and I felt like I was very proud of the fact that all the work that I've done this year, as well as work that I've done in the past, working at DreamWorks and Netflix, like this kind of culminated in terms of like the stuff that I've been able to learn, and being able to capture more expressive poses, and not being afraid to try something more radical and different. Because when it comes to drawing stuff for myself, I would always try to draw stuff that's very easy, and this was by no means easy. I think just the time lapse doesn't do it justice how long this drawing actually took. I think this drawing took about, from start to finish, about 2 hours. And once you see like, the stage where I go into color, that's where I took a lot of time trying to make sure that the drawing felt complete. And also thank you to Mason for suggesting this, because I wasn't really thinking of Azula at first when I was trying to come up with the drawing, but as soon as I thought of her, my imagination just kind of let loose, and I wasn't expecting to kind of go all out like this. I mean, granted, Mason, I was going to go all out for you anyway, bud, but I think just with Azula as a character, it just made me more excited to try to do something a lot more action expressive and intense. And kind of sidetracking a little bit, I was watching Arcane, this series on Netflix, which by the way is phenomenal. Like, it's one of the best animated shows I've ever seen. And so that, having come off of watching that, I was very inspired and motivated to try to capture something similar. And so here, this isn't necessarily something that's too storyboard related, but here I actually am doing a little bit of painting and rendering, because one thing that's important too is not just Azula's pose, but also the fire that's coming out of her fingers. And just like I said before, I had a reference on another monitor of Azula's blue fire. And this is where, really taking the time to look at reference and understanding the principles and the way that actual materials work really helps to elevate your drawings. And in this case, once you see how I end up, taking the fire, it really, was better than I could have imagined. And as you can see, like, I tried to come up with a background that was contrasting the blue fire, but it just didn't work. That red background was just gross, in my opinion. And then once I did this black background with the blue glow from behind, that's where the money was, baby. And so as you can see, like, I picked a specific blend mode for the fire. I forgot what it was. I think it was either like hard to light or some other blend mode that gave you that transparency. And it just worked for me. And then here, this was my first attempt at trying to color Azula. I try to go for a much more minimalistic approach to coloring her. And as you can see, I just picked like just a shade of blue, and I added another layer just for the lights. And it just wasn't working for me. I guess it could have been all right that way, but it just wasn't working for me. And I decided to really take the time to incorporate all of Azula's colors. And you'll see right now that I just decide to not be lazy about it and just restart it. And that's okay. You don't have to be set on everything, the first time around, but it's always good to come up with different ideas and brainstorm. And here, that's the reference that I was using from before. And just to make it easier for me, I color picked all the specific colors of Azula's outfit, ranging from like the lining of her robe to her leggings. And you'll see that I really do take my time with this, and it pays off in the end, I think. And I'll just let you guys see the coloring process, which, looking at it now, it's kind of therapeutic just seeing all those colors being filled in. And I do want to take the time to just say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I mean, granted, it's still a small channel, but every new subscriber that I get just makes me happy, and it just gives me the motivation to keep going and keep making videos. And this one was a very relaxing one, just because it was just me just letting loose and just having fun drawing. As much as I do enjoy making, you know, tutorial videos, it's always nice every now and then to just relax and just do some fan art. And I actually have never done Azula fan art before, so this was a very you know, awesome introduction to me drawing the character. And yeah, I mean, watching Arcane and, you know, watching these shows, like, it really invigorates me every time I, you know, get to draw these characters, because it reminds me of why I'm drawing in the first place. And it's just fun. It's just really fun getting to see your progress and being able to try out new things. And also thank you to everyone who suggested stuff. I mean, I wish I could do all those suggestions, but in this case, I wanted to be fair and pick one at random, and I would have had fun either way. And so here you see, like, I put in all the local colors, and of course the lighting doesn't match you know, the environment, but here, as you can see, I tried different blend modes like multiply, and then I take a separate layer and, you know, try to add subtle rim lighting, because one thing that I was not liking about my previous rendition was that she was kind of blending in too much into the black background. And so as you can see here, I try to find ways to, like, separate her from the background to make sure that, you know, in terms of, like, visual hierarchy, she's the one that stands out the most. And so here, like, this is where it gets very specific, and it becomes kind of more of a visual development topic. But here, you know, when it comes to lighting and trying to make sure the lighting fits correctly in terms of, like, you know, how it hits Azula's face and how it hits the rest of her body, I was really trying my best to interpret where the lighting would go, and also have the lighting not be too distracting. The most obvious thing is that her fingers would get the most light, and I think the most important thing is that the drawing itself is already there and it's already well constructed, in my opinion, of course. And so, like, everything else is just stuff that, you know, embellishes the drawing even further. So even if, say, the lighting doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because by itself, the drawing of Azula does work pretty well, because the main things I focused on were gesture, composition, character, and energy, especially. And that's the thing. That's really the most important takeaway when it comes to drawing, is that you want to be able to channel in a character through the lines that you put down on paper. And as I said before, as I was going further and further into this drawing, I just felt that excitement again, as I always do, you know. Granted, I always try to take breaks when I can and take care of myself, but anytime I hop in, it just reminds me how much I love drawing and how much I love, you know, being able to tell stories just through images. And in this particular case, this is kind of like a mix between a storyboard and a visual development piece. I don't consider myself a visual development artist, but in terms of storytelling, you know, this is what I live for. And so here, like, you know, my usual gimmicks, of course, at this point, the drawing is done, and here I'm adding, like, little embellishments such as, like, lens flare and things to help just finalize the drawing. And it's always nice just to, you know, be able to add little final details in there. And yeah, I add some noise, and that's it. That's the Azula drawing. I just want to say to everybody, thanks again for supporting my channel, and I just look forward to making more, you know, videos for you guys. In that case, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hasta luego.